Hi, greetings everyone. I wanted to provide an overview of how you would navigate the MTSS process as both a general ed teacher, special ed teacher, or in any staff member, as we know, can refer and access the MTSS process. And again, MTSS is multi-tiered systematic supports for instruction and intervention. Um, Also, as we know, MTSS differs slightly from the RTII model, as MTSS is considered a more comprehensive approach for providing students with three-tiered intervention, but also more comprehensive as a school, ensuring that there are other uh, components implemented. So, what you see on your screen is a referral or a request for assistance form. As you can see, this is structured in a spreadsheet format, and this has evolved over the years, but this becomes more streamlined as an MTSS team and those who are collaborating around a student. So your opening page would look like this. And this is getting the initial information around a student. You would be able to fill this out and document any type of intervention that has been occurring for your student. Now, this very well may be completed by the MTSS coordinator and other professionals who are involved with the student. This is tailored to more of a kindergarten level. So you're seeing a lot of information related to that level on the screen, but I thought it was a well-fitting referral so you could see the beginnings of what you would find. You could see at the bottom of your screen the different tabs, which would indicate again everything is streamlined and in one spot. Many, many years ago, it differed. If you had a different concern, you may have different forms around or different documentation compiled and curated around a student. Now, this shows that we see the data is in one place. So if I click on math goals and data, you'll see how data is collected and monitored over time in a duration of either 6 weeks to 12 weeks. Here is a place for behavior goals and data, and you'll see that some of the instruments employed are titled FastBridge, which this is an evidence-based program, which it is computerized. In grades second and above, you most likely would see that map data that I've mentioned in class many times. Attendance, if it's an issue, any infractions related to behavior. So there's a drop down menu. Again, helpful for those who are accessing the requests because everything is in one place. If speech OT PT, usually that falls under one category. If you are the coordinator, you are fielding that out to those particular specialists if there is a concern. Like, for instance, as a teacher, if I have a concern about one of my students' articulation issues, they're not quite mastering a TH sound or S blends, I would be able to reach out to the MTSS coordinator, and then she would then reach out and be the conduit between myself and those specialists. Graphs are used here to, as I've showed you in class, if you are maintaining graphing, if I'm referring a student, hopefully I've already collected some preliminary data around that student. And if I have graphing around behavior, for instance, I would include that here and share that with the MTSS team. This usually is for documentation if there are any additional screenings and history around the child, and then some meeting notes. Again, everything is very much streamlined, and I know I'm saying that, and I apologize for being redundant, but this is something that you would see as a teacher and a practitioner in your school. So I wanted to show that as firsthand knowledge. So from here, if you are in still a tier 1 level for your student, with your respective student who you're looking and trying to find ways to support, I wanted to show you this documentation where it lists a classroom teacher's responsibilities within an MTSS framework, which I thought was really helpful, and I'll be handing this out to you this evening. It delineates all of the roles of a classroom teacher at tier 1. So for instance, you'll see attributes and responsibilities such as incorporate a school-wide positive behavior intervention support framework. And I spent some time on that because this is at your tier 1. And that's why, and one of the reasons why I spent some time on that to show you, because it's integral to that universal level. Small group instruction, so that could look like some of the interventions that you would be providing, some frame of reference. That SMART goal presentation I showed you, I would use that to document and monitor my students' growth during that time, or lack of growth. From there, I would ensure that these are all secure at tier 1. If that 15 to 20% of your students are not responding to that evidence-based universal primary level of instruction and assessment, tier 2 would then, you can see as a classroom teacher, you would see some of your roles here. I want to also highlight, as mentioned in previous courses, that communication and partnership with parents and guardians is a common staple throughout all the tiers. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then finally, that tertiary tier, that red level tier, you'll see that updated MTSS forms with data would be included. And then the implementation of differentiation would occur. But most likely, once that student is transitioning into that tier 3, the team will be closely monitoring to determine if that child should be a candidate for a full psychological multidisciplinary evaluation. So I know I said a lot of terminology, but we are masters at terminology because we've been spending a lot of time on that. So wanted to highlight that. So I'm going to pause this video for now, and we will revisit this later this evening.